I've made some recent insights into the structure of being, and they've given me clues as to the meaning of the Ark and the Tabernacle. In my video, The Truth of the Law and the Commandments, I detailed the events of the giving of the law and commandments, and how it is that the first set of tablets contained God's true law, which had not been spoken openly, that these had been broken openly in response to the worship of the golden idol, and that this was deliberate on the part of God. The events were symbolic, both of God's intent to deliver the true law, which had not been received, along with the delivery of a false law, which had been received, and from which the Israelites were freed through worship of the idol. Both laws had been rejected, and in doing so, God had symbolically rejected the commands given on the mountain, which had sparked the crisis on earth, which I describe in my video, The Genesis of Genesis. The covenant was never renewed with God. The Israelites were free from the moment those tablets were destroyed. The second set of tablets contained the false law, which had been spoken openly, and which God had allowed Satan to compose almost in its entirety. I don't believe that the covenant was truly renewed, because if it was, then it was renewed with Satan, not God. Unfortunately, the more I think about this, the more I have to accept that God would absolutely allow us to do it. How much of what followed came from God, and how much from Satan? Since making my video, The Truth of the Law and the Commandments, I've seen more, such that I now know more of the contents of the Ark and their meaning. In that video, I made a mistake in saying that the second set of tablets were actually written on scroll. This was a deduction based on my seeing Moses writing on scroll, and content from the Law of One series which stated that the Ark contains writing on scroll. I corrected that statement in the comments for the video, but I wanted to correct it in a video so that the correction isn't missed. As I've stated before, I make mistakes, and I correct the mistakes, coming ever closer to the truth by integrating more of what I've seen. As I see more, I come to understand more. I've now seen the second set of tablets. The Bible contains two narratives, one from God and one from Satan. They both make an appeal to our hearts within the Bible. God allowed this because it makes the contest fair. Among the Israelites are those who serve God and those who serve Satan. I saw two groups. One was evil and the other good. Let me restate that the covenant was never renewed with God. It was only made to appear so, with the consent of God. It was Satan who appeared at the tent of meeting before the construction of the tabernacle, and it was Satan who said, "You cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live." He was hiding his identity and his true name, which is visible in the energy body around the head. The true God had already revealed himself to the elders of Israel on the mountain, and seeks to bring us to him, that we should see him and know him. I have also seen that it was Satan who dwelt within the tabernacle, and only rarely did the true God appear there and speak. Much terrible falsehood came from Satan at that time, and much terrible violence. Moses had to do as God commanded, and God commanded him to obey the instructions which Satan gave to him. Satan is a liar, and so Moses was forced to give a false account. He was torn with grief, but this was done to fulfill all righteousness. This was done so as to repudiate the events of the time of confusion that I described in my video, The Genesis of Genesis. Moses was also forced to place the tablets with the false law into the ark as a punishment. All of this has come to my memory as I've been writing the content for this video. All of that blood and falsehood, it came from Satan masquerading as God. God allowed it, for it had to be, so that we could eventually be free. What I remember of God's true law was something like this: you are free. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. Love your neighbour as yourself. So then, the first set of tablets is known to have been broken by Moses. The second was also broken by Moses, because he knew what they represented, and he was disgusted by them. He broke them in secret and pretended it was an accident, but God sees all things. As punishment and recompense, these tablets were placed within the ark along with the tablets containing the true law. Part of the recompense for these actions may also have been Satan's time with the tabernacle. Both sets of tablets are broken. One set has God's true law. The other set has Satan's false law. With them is Aaron's staff which budded, and the pot of manna. The tabernacle, at some level, whether it's the Holy of Holies, or both the Holy Place and the Holy of Holies combined, represents the room, or vehicle, or soul of God. Those terms are interchangeable and represent the same thing to me. It is God's dwelling place. The ark represents his being, the construct of archetypal thoughts which we use to interpret the creation, which contains the character that interprets them. A being can travel outside of the room or vehicle or soul. Within his being has been placed the true law and a false law, both broken and unchosen. The staff which budded will symbolize the choice which we have made within our hearts. The bud grows and will entwine around the tablets of law we have chosen within our hearts. The plant growth will bind the chosen tablets together such that they do not fall apart. It is imperative, it is absolutely critical that we do not open the ark until the appointed time. The content of the ark symbolizes which choice we have made. Have we put Satan in the place of God, or have we worshipped God and not Satan? Even the cherubim on the ark are symbolically placed in opposition to each other, giving us a clue about this choice. When the time is right, we will open the ark, and the choice will be revealed. This choice has implications as to who will rule over the world. The people will have chosen. Let's hope they choose wisely. I should add that there were two groups present when the contents of the ark were placed. One was evil, the other good. The evil ones cast an illusion upon the second set of tablets to make them appear unbroken. This was done after they had been placed. This illusion will break when they are handled. They also placed Aaron's staff dishonestly in an attempt to favour the false law. But this will have no impact on the final outcome, although it is quite symbolic of our having to navigate past and through the false law in order to reach and grasp God's true law. Perhaps the illusion placed on the tablets of false law represents the illusion of the renewal of the covenant with God. If I had to give an opinion, I'd say that the manna represents God's teaching, and that it represents a fixed amount of intervention which God may use over time to reach us with his true word. It could diminish over time, and upon emptying, symbolically represent the trigger for opening the ark. I saw the great bulk of it disappear when Christ came to earth, when the bread of life walked among us. I hope you found this helpful and interesting. All the best.